So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are an African American, how do you feel today? If you're an African male today, do you feel demeaned, degraded, disgraced by Kamala Harris and her loony bins? As this appears from my screen, ladies and gentlemen, let me remind everybody of how divisive politics works. Divisive politics is a really simple thing. Take one community, pit them against another, and say, look how bad things are for you, and look how amazing things are for the other guy. Don't you wish you had that? That, ladies and gentlemen, is the Kamala Harris campaign in a nutshell. The Kamala Harris campaign wants to convince African American males that life is better under Kamala. Really? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rant Network podcast hosted by myself, David Solomon. This is Stuart Brisgell. He's rubbing his hands because he can't wait to dive into this crazy issue because we don't edit. We don't filter. We don't censor any of these conversations. What you see is what you get. A wide range of topics. While Stuart likes to talk and claim to talk about stupid shit like the Best Buy, we really deal in politics and everyday stuff that really drives you crazy. This is the platform to express your opinions, your thoughts, and experiences and ideas because, folks, the real internet doesn't let you do it unless you're Elon Musk. Go on to X. Whole story in itself for another day. We'd love to dive into news, pop culture, politics, and so much more. So sit back as today we're going to slam the Kamala Harris administration on their handling of the African American community. You know, Stuart, I want to tell you something. There was an interesting remark made by a variety of different organizations for the Black community that says since Obama's election in 2000, all right, remember, so we're talking how many years ago? 16 years ago. The Black community claims to be no further ahead today than they were at the Obama administration. 12 years of the Democrats saying, we know better than the Republicans. We are not the racists. We're going to take great care of you. And yet African Americans are no better off today than in 2008. But Kamala has a better plan. Stuart, I think it's offensive what she's doing.
Oh, hang on, let me get my garbage can. I got to puke. Okay, David, let's dive into this. Let me explain to you. America is a country that makes us all American. That makes us all American. And if we're all American, then we all sort of are American. Well, do I sound a little crazy and a little like Kamala Harris? Well, maybe I do, because that's exactly what she says. Vice President Harris laid out an agenda, not for Americans, but for Black men, and tools to build wealth and achieve financial freedom. Well, hang on a second. Let's go. Lower costs for themselves and their family, protect their rights, addressing issues for Black Americans. I don't know. David, as an American, would you want to have financial freedom? Would you want tools to build wealth? Would you want, the answer is going to be yes, 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 and yes. But let me continue. Divisiveness. Oh my God. Provide $1 million for forgivable. $1 million for forgivable loans. Up to $20,000, on addition, $20,000 for any Black entrepreneur. Good ideas don't have resources and connections. They're going to give them capital to launch their business. And then tax the shit out of them. Launch national health incentives and equity initiatives for Black America. Well, hang on a second. I thought there's all kinds of Americans. Black, white, Latino, Asian, Indian. I don't know, probably left a couple out. Let me continue. Legalize marijuana. Wow. Because it's a Black barrier. Are you a fucking racist, you dumbass? Maybe you are Indian and you're anti-Black yourself, Harris. Lower rent and down payment assistance. Okay. Communism. Are you a fucking idiot? Let's go. This is what Kamala Harris campaign wants you to believe. That we're going to give you the world. Let's forget about Congress. Let's forget about Senate. Let's forget about equality. Let's forget about what? American versus non-American. Let's just have everything free. Let's have an initiative just for Black Americans. What about Asians, Jewish, Catholics, Christians, Buddhists, Muslim? Hey, It's about Black Americans. For a person who denied that she was Black up until she ran for president of the United States. And here's this, let her attack back. She's saying that Donald Trump is going to penalize Black Americans. He's going to make them refuse rentals. He's going to encourage more George Floyds and worship the people that cause these thug-like actions. This is how the Kamala Harris campaign needs to try and fight back. There's no way they can win on merits of what they have done. Kamala Harris has been in the White House for 4 fucking years. And yet she could not do anything. Why? Why can she promise to win? You know what, Kamala Harris? You can do that right now. Biden won't mind. He won't get in the way. He's just going to do what you tell him. Go do it, Kamala. Why don't you put any of these initiatives in place today? Put them to the floor. You're the tie-breaking vote. Your party should support you. Wait a minute. Your border bill blocked by 6 of your illustrious colleagues. Why? It didn't go far enough. And why was it blocked? You had token Republicans, and you call it bipartisan. That's not the definition of bipartisan. Maybe if you want to string words like spaghetti and word salad that you're so famous for, but you forget and fail to understand we are American. And the more you divide us, the more we're going to turn on you. That is why Vegas odds now show you as the loser. That is why you have to now submit yourself from out of the basement and into Fox News, where, you're going to be treated respectfully, unlike your other media networks.
Stuart, this already happened. Don't forget, this happened back on Wednesday.
I know, Dave. But she's doubling down, claiming that she is going to do more for Black Americans, where she did nothing. Where Obama promised when he had 4 years of both branches, did nothing for Black Americans. These are the whitest Black folk I have ever heard of. You know what? They're so white, they make Bill Clinton look a man of color. Bill Clinton's got more jazz and pizzazz than Obama and Harris combined. And he can play the saxophone really good. So he's not only a blowhard, he's actually got pizzazz. Kamala Harris is the most awkward candidate in history of the United States. She is the first presidential candidate that had no electoral votes. She is the first coup of the United States of America. Yes, coup. They did what we're going to call a victimless victim coup. Yeah. They took out the president of the United States without a single shot, without a single vote. I am amazed. I cannot believe. And she's promising the world, I'll give you free education, open borders, cheap food, cheap rent, free car, hey, free energy. How do you do this? What environment does this actually exist? Communist China, communist Cuba, communist Russia. That's where it exists. Russia is more Americanized today than America. How is that? It's crazy. Think about it. Russia is more American than the United States of America. Just as long as you don't cross Vladimir Putin. But Kamala Harris, a puppet, literally a puppet. I would call her a finger puppet, but that may be too gross for some of you. That may be too deep, too crude. But that's all she is. She cannot give a speech without a teleprompter. She cannot do an interview that isn't scripted. She can't do. Are you not terrified of what she can do in the White House? Who's going to do it? We were told that Joe is the man. Everything Joe did was great. You can't promise low energy, tackle climate control, invest in childcare, long-term care, provide a pathway for middle class, make education affordable, support innovation, protect Social Security and Medicare, right? Bring down the cost of healthcare, bring bad actors and bring costs down. I don't know what that one is. Grow small business, make rent more affordable, cut taxes for the middle class family. You can't do that. You know, I got to say everything so everyone can get one thing and hope you're friggin' stupid. She then wants to continue civil rights and freedoms. I mean, like, you know, why don't you just say Versace, Hermes, and Chanel for all? Because that's what she's trying to do. It's just not possible. There is a certain sense of reality that must ensue. You can't live in a virtual world. Come back to earth. If I pinch myself, I'll leave myself a mark. If I pull a hair out of my hand, it'll bear. This is a woman who is strictly trying to say anything to be the president of the United States. As a true politician, a lizard, a snake, not for the people, by the people. She doesn't know how to be for the people, by the people, because she never was of the people. She's been a product of taxpayer dollars her entire career. A failed person in the bar. Wow. Passed the easiest bar in the Union, California. She is a Berkeley, high-end, upper middle class family. She never worked at McDonald's. She never had a real job. And she can't say that she worked a day in her life like most presidents of the United States have. There is such rare exception to this. She didn't come up government by governance. She came up by legal meandering, word salad, carving words, saying stuff that makes no sense, asking a question or being asked a question and not being able to produce an answer. And as a result of all of that, she has to resort into further divisive electoral meandering. Black votes is where she's lacking. She has the worst black vote PR in history of the Democratic Party. It's amazing. Obama goes out and eviscerates the black community. Clinton goes out and eviscerates her in the community. Biden eviscerates. Why do you think all these key people, seasoned people, destroy her? Because this is a person who is the most dangerous person in America, backed by a George Soros, backed by people who want to see death and destruction to the United States of America. David.
Stuart, I got to tell you, as I'm listening to you, and I'm amazed by where you went with this a little bit, but I'm going to take a slightly different stance.
Ooh,
okay, let's talk about these. First of all, the timing of this. 3 weeks to go before the election. Let me throw out this token. Wow. 1 million entrepreneurs get $25,000. What is that? Where are we going to get that kind of money? Now, let me ask the question a little bit differently. Free weed and $25,000 of a forgivable loan to a millionaire, to 1 million blacks. That's cool. I think that's interesting. Free weed? Okay. So first of all, I don't know if white people like weed. I guess they do. So that they're not entitled to that. But really, is this what you think you could do? Let me smoke you up. Let me get you high. Is that not offensive? What about African Americans who are non-entrepreneurs, who will never be entrepreneurs, unfortunately, because reality is not everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur. And yet what has she done for the non-entrepreneurs? You know, she continues to say, "Oh, we'll give you money for homes. We'll give you that." There's money thrown. But where is the thought, Stuart? Because what you are hearing from community after community, struggle in education, right? So they had to change the SAT policies, and they have to change the entrance exams, and they have to create DEI policies to allow African Americans. This is what you've been hearing all along. But what do? Is I give free weed, because that's going to solve the problem. You see, this is the problem. This is it. Oh, and then there's the concept of reparation payments, which you didn't address, is that now California wants it, whatever. It's like, yeah, you should pay us reparation payments from centuries ago for enslaving African Americans. Now, I'm thinking here, if you want to bankrupt America, this is a great policy.
You know, you talk about, one second, reparations to Black Americans, which by the way is bizarre as it stands. What about all the Japanese internment people and Asians that built the railroad and roads and that were buried and murdered along the way? How about the indigenous people that were buried underneath
No, you
churches?
can't. No, because that's not important. That's not important.
These are, you know what? You know why it's all about them? Because it's the only electoral vote that Kamala Harris is trying to garner. Because
Charlemagne, thank God, and all these other, other people didn't didn't ask her that question, because the only minority that matters is either the African American community, the LGBTQ community. There's no other community that matters. Okay, and we've seen numerous occasions of racism, discrimination, whatever. But it's interesting because you've got a person like Morgan Freeman, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who stand up saying, stop waiting for handouts from the government and start taking care of yourselves. And instead, what people like Obama and Kamala Harris stand up and say is, no. Don't stand up for yourself. We'll help you by giving you free weed. Like this policy, the idea is vile. Does it help education? No. Does it help single families? No. Does it help people who are unable to put food on the table? No. I am amazed at the offensive strategy put forward by the Harris campaign towards her own community that she claims she is the most knowledgeable person to help. This is, to me, it's not only divisive politics, it's offensive politics. And no wonder African men are running away. And it's interesting because Obama says to people, you guys just don't want to elect a Black woman. I mean, if I can't get you with a policy, let me offend you. Let me remind everybody 4 years ago what Joe Biden said, that if you don't vote for Joe Biden, you ain't Black. And this is the Democratic Party's policy, folks. So if you want to go ahead and follow Kamala Harris down these pathways of pulling shit out of a hat and hoping for the best, if this is the kind of president you want, holy crap, folks, you're in deep trouble.
Hang on a second. And this is a president that will take Dr. Seuss off the shelf. David, wrap it up.
No, ladies and gentlemen, I'm done. He's done. And that's it for another week of this pre-recorded version of the Rant Network. Yes, we re-recorded this. We will be back again on Monday. Thank you again. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. That's when our broadcast goes live. We are on YouTube. We're at therantnetwork.com. Please subscribe to these channels. This is the way you will get the best way to get notified of our latest podcast. Please share us with all your friends, like us, comments. We do appreciate comments, even those that have been a little bit rough. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, until next week, enjoy your weekend. If you're fortunate enough to still see the beautiful leaves that are changing, take advantage of it. It is absolutely stunning this year because your politics is not as colorful.